Hey there! We're going to start rewiring the car today. We got the painless wiring harness. Let's get wiring. Alright, let's open this thing up. Let's look inside. Well, that's not good. Before you begin. Alright, we'll look at that later. Got a nice manual. Alright, we got parts. Lots of parts. Crimps, connectors. Nice, they use nice braid, that's what they're telling me. Very nice. Alright. Oh, sticker. This will make the car go faster. That's nice. Alright, now. Got the main harness. Alright. Nice, got a hot lead. There's a plate to mount. Mounting plate. A little dielectric grease. Very nice. Now we have the wiring harness taken apart, and I have this the rear section, tail lights, etc. Plenty long enough to reach. I got the front section separated and the fuse panel. Now, very important, very important. I did a couple of these, you know, so just from experience, before you go ripping everything out of the car, I would just label some of the wiring before you start cutting it and ripping it out of the firewall. Just label, you know, whatever you're cutting out, because you're going to have to replace it. And considering that this is a generic wiring harness, it might not be 100% cut and dry. You're going to have to keep in mind what you're taking out, because over the years, you know, this car that I'm working on, for example, is, you know, 65 years old. So there's a lot of things that people change, but I want to get this thing back to square, you know, bare bones, the way it's supposed to be wired. And I want to have all my dash lights on. Everything's going to work when I'm done with this wiring harness, and it's going to work. It's going to be functional, and it's going to be dependable, and it's going to be correct. So we got to take your time. Make sure you do all your connections. You know, comes with a bag of connections. I like to solder all my connections, and I'm going to walk through this the best I can and show you how to, you know, not turn this into a disaster. So stay with me. All right, now let's before we start cutting, we don't know. Let's just say we don't know where any of these wires go. It doesn't matter as long as you label your wires as you're cutting them. Now, please keep in mind the battery's out of the car, obviously, okay? So we are going to start labeling this stuff as we cut. Now, this was the fan. Obviously, I know what this is, but before we start just cutting out the wiring harness stuff, what I want to do is come all the way over to here where it comes here, and I want to put a number. Now, these are just a book of numbers, electrical book of numbers for marking wires. So if I put, so for example, I put a number 2. Alright, I marked this with a number 2. Doesn't matter where it goes. Absolutely does not matter. Okay, I'm going to show you why. So I marked this wire with a number 2. I'm going to cut it. And now I'm going to trace this wire back in through the firewall. Now we are going to look for the wire I just cut. All right. All right. Found a wire. I just want to show you now. It's going to my amp meter gauge, all right? So the same number I put out there, I come in here, I put the same number. So that was a number 2, I put a number 2 here. Cut the wire off. All right? Now we do the same thing, rinse and repeat. Okay, just keep going with that. All right, we're working on getting the wires through the firewall right now. Now I want to show you what's going on inside here, so you know why you have to be very careful in taking apart all this wiring. All right, hold on. All right. Let's see if we can see this here. Okay, there's the wiring in the car. It is a completely disaster. Okay, now this is probably most cars of this age. The wires are brittle, they crack. I mean, it's time to tear apart. So methodically, we're going to tear this all out, all the wiring, because we have to identify exactly where they go for this particular car. Now, to just rip and tear this apart would be a disaster. I mean, you could probably figure it out, but it's better to mark all this stuff. Okay, it's better to mark this stuff as you go. It'll be 1,000 times easier in the end. All right, let's keep going. All right, one thing you're gonna need a multimeter, because if not, you're gonna spend all day taking tape off wiring harness. So what you want to do, obviously, set it on your ohms, and we're looking to ring these out. Okay, for example, the alternator. All right. We have multiple same colors. I just want to verify this. This is how you do this. Bring it over here. Now I can verify where this alternator wire goes without taking all this tape apart. We're going through, we're ringing out all the wires. We're marking as many terminations as I can. Once we go past the point of no return, go underneath that dash, start tearing everything out, and we put the new harness in, there'll be very little guesswork in this. We want to keep everything nice and clean, keep the wiring running and really nice. Stay tuned, come back, and we're going to keep going on this wiring harness on the 56 Oldsmobile. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next, we'll do part 2. See you on part 2.